Bryant, the stock can't get a bounce even on Friday when the Nasdaq at large was higher. Big tech was higher. Facebook was not. It's acting like it's mortally wounded. What is wrong?
I think the concern over the future and the next several quarters of investments that they're putting in to remake the company. And on the other side of the house, you've got Google and Amazon, Microsoft, ServiceNow all doing really well. And so there's just phenomenal stories that are really having, no speed bumps. So Facebook puts up a 20% growth quarter and then guides 3 to 11% top line for Q1, and the record scratch and the books fell off the shelves and everyone's going, what's going on with what's happening? Part of me just believes like this is a sideshow that they're throwing, which is press in Mr. Investor, Miss Investor, don't keep picking on me. Look, Apple is doing all these things to the ecosystem. TikTok is doing all these things to the ecosystem. We're not a monopoly in tech. And so I think Zuckerberg's, and part of me believes that he's just saying, look, stop picking on me. Look at what's going on in the rest of tech. And this was a phenomenal opportunity. As you know, Facebook always guides conservatively. So why not just try to bring the rest of tech into the equation, which is we're not the monopoly. There are a lot of other companies doing really well. And let's focus on them, Mr. Regulator and investor. So I think ultimately, they've got some issues. As we've seen in the past, right? Companies like Microsoft and Adobe, even Apple, you've seen a lot of great tech companies go through transitions. And Facebook is going, into a pit stop. And ultimately, are you betting, at 16 times 23 earnings now that it's over? I don't think it's over, but I think there's better stories right now in the short term that they're executing better, that investors want to be in. And so they want to sit on the sidelines, wait this one out, and come back to it. But again, at 16 times earnings on 23, we think long-term investors are really going to be able to take advantage here. And again, I think the same analogy was, Adobe was 30 when Steve Jobs said Adobe's Flash was dead, and everyone thought Adobe was dead, and went to 700, right? Microsoft, when Ballmer was there on the operating system, Microsoft's dead. It's an operating system company. We went from 30 to 300. So I think there's a parallel here,
right? Which
is all big tech go through, these pit stops.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a costly gambit, Brent, if what you say is true, in that if it's basically saying that we're being wounded by competition and therefore we're not a monopoly just to get the government off its back. I mean, to what end is that gamble? What are they spending $200+ billion in market cap to get, if that is the case? If what
I'm not saying that that's the only reason why they're doing it. There's no question there's issues as it relates to market share loss and what they're doing with this transition to the company. But I do believe that they have been a focus for quite some time, and I think they're also saying, hey, look, there are other issues going on that no one else is talking about. So I think part of that's them fighting back, and that's my own personal belief. Okay, that's not anything that they've said, but they guide conservatively, and this was just extra conservative. They threw in the kitchen sink on this one, so no one anticipated that magnitude of a slowdown. So look, we know that advertisers are still saying, hey, we're not running for the hills away from Facebook. They're embracing other things with connected TV. Trade Desk should benefit, or we're seeing Snap. I mean, everyone thought Snap's numbers were going to be awful. They were amazing. How could Google's numbers and Snap's number and their forecast be that amazing? And Facebook and the advertisers are saying, hey, like, we still see it. It can't be that bad. I just don't think it's as bad as they're saying, is my personal belief. And that's based on our expert network. And so I ultimately think it's going to be overly conservative.